Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the StarCraft 2 World Championship Series. It is the Europe Premier League. We're up for Group B this evening. 4 fantastic players from yesterday. 2 went through, of course, and tonight we'll see which other 2 join them. It's going to be a cracker of a night and more StarCraft 2 action coming your way fairly shortly. Before we get to that, though, let's have a quick look at all of the groups that are taking place in the round of 16, as you can see right now. In Group A, 4GG already through, and of course yesterday, wait for this, TLO went through. And tonight we'll have VortiX, Baby Knight, Naniwa and Happy going head-to-head for 2 places from Group B. We've also got more action tomorrow night on Thursday and, of course, on Friday for the final group as well. So plenty more StarCraft action to come this week. We've also got a number of people to introduce you to, so let me walk on over here to our other people in the WCS show, the first of which is a man you already know. He's now known as the Weatherman. He is, of course, Mr. Apollo.
The weather is indeed looking beautiful today, Paul.
Okay, but stormy later this week, I understand.
Stormy later this week. It's Grubby's coming later this week, so it will be stormy later on. But today, looking pretty good.
Okay, so Group B, what's your highlight in this group? What are you looking at? There's only
Naniwa.
one story here, isn't
Naniwa. It's all about Naniwa today. You know, everyone's coming to challenge him. You got a couple of players looking to beat him today, and I think he's going to hold strong.
All right, well, thank you very much. We'll check in with you a little bit later on, both as a commentator and as an analysis. We also have one other man to introduce you to. He is, of course, yesterday's man of the moment. He was known as the man that only gets paid to stream through Reddit threads. He is, of course, the one and only Phil Hubner. Okay, Mr. Hubner will be going through all of the social media. He'll also be talking through the Reddit threads as well. And, of course, if you want to interact with us, you can do so via all the social media that you're used to, Twitter and on Facebook, facebook.com/StarCraft or /ESL TV for all the latest VODs, and on Twitter, / or at StarCraft and at ESL TV. Don't forget as well, #WCS for all of the World Championship Series tweets that you want to tell us. Just let us know who you want to win tonight, who's the favourite, who's the underdog. Tweet what you want to us on #WCS, and who knows, you might even feature in the show itself as well. Our final part of the introduction today is to show you the bracket. These 4 men will be going head-to-head. They won't all be playing each other, though, because it's a dual tournament format. So let's take a look at the bracket. And as you can see, we'll kick off tonight with VortiX versus Happy, and that will be followed by Baby Knight versus Naniwa. Promises to be 2 fantastic games. The 2 winners of those will then meet each other in the winners' game. The 2 losers will meet in the losers' game. And then we'll have our final match as the deciding match to decide who goes through in the top 2. It's a dual tournament format. If you've watched the GSL, you'll know exactly what's going on. Okay, it's time to get underway for our first game of the night. It's going to be a cracker. And to bring you all the action is, of course, the wonderful duo of Kalaris and Apollo.
Thanks very much, Paul. Welcome to the caster's desk here for the World Championship Series Europe Premier League. My name's Kalaris alongside Apollo. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great today. It's we had a fantastic day 1 yesterday. We started off amazingly. Today's going to be better.
It could be. It certainly could be. We have the king in the form of Naniwa, but for now we are kicking things off with VortiX versus Happy here. A pretty darn good TVZ, and there's going to be a lot of spice, I think, going into this game. Cool play styles.
This is going to be a great series to kick off the day, of course, then moving on to Naniwa versus Baby Knight. That's going to be another great game. I mean, what are your predictions coming into this first series as these players get ready to veto the maps?
Well, once again, they're kind of listening, so I don't know what to say, but we will see, actually. Whoa, a veto already coming out here from VortiX in terms of Newkirk Precinct. So.
And then Happy gets rid of Star Station. Star Station, a very difficult map to take the 3rd base on. You know, Roach Hydra play, Link Bagel play, crashing into that 3rd base.
Yeah.
Can be difficult to deal with sometimes.
Can be very, very open indeed here. VortiX, meanwhile, goes for Aklon Waste from that point on. We actually spoke about this just before, though. Like, Zerg's having a little bit of a harder time against a Terran that wants to establish so many bases so easily on a map like that.
And Happy's a great macro player, right?
Yeah.
So he's going to look to take a fast third base and Aklon Waste. VortiX doesn't want that. On the other hand, Happy gets rid of Whirlwind, one of the bigger maps where Zerg players always love to fall back on.
Yes.
If something goes wrong, it's always their go-to map.
It's interesting. I mean, the contrasts here are Terran here vetoing the maps that are arguably the most open of maps in this map pool thus far, and then the other ones, Nuka Precinct and Aklon Waste do have a few different nuances to them, but certainly helping out the Terran just a little bit in terms of their architecture.
I mean, those 3 maps that we're going to be playing on, if I can remember from just a couple of seconds ago, Neoplanet S, Belshir Vestige, and Daybreak.
Yes.
The 3 maps. So I'd actually kind of, like that for Happy, to be honest, looking at those maps. They've got good percentages in favor of Terran on especially Neoplanet S. So it is a bit of a difficult map pool for VortiX, but it's all about getting that map 1 down on Daybreak, as you can see is map number 1 here, or about getting that first win, especially when you're the first couple of players on stage.
Yeah, it's important to pick that up so that you can then advance on to that round where you either guarantee yourself a spot in the round of 8 or you actually have a second chance there. Having to fall down at this stage and then play back those 2 extra series can be very, very brutal indeed. And we'll see who is going to be victorious here in this first best of 3.
Well, let's talk a little bit about these players now, Kalara. So on screen we can see Happy, and then just over there we see VortiX. VortiX, a 19-year-old, only part-time in StarCraft 2, doesn't play full-time yet, has got commitments in school. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, in the round of 32, he had to reschedule his games because of exams.
Yep.
So he's not putting in the same amount of time as Happy, for example, who's been a full-time player for quite a while.
That's true, and then to that point that you bring up there, the fact that he's not playing full-time, he kind of got a good draw in the round of 32, did VortiX. He had to go up against Monshi and Daishi to advance onto the round of 16 here, which isn't as high a peak in terms of the level of play from across the other groups. So you could say, arguably here, that VortiX had a little bit of an easier road towards that round of 16.
Yeah, an easier road, which means he has to really prove what his worth is in StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm, Kalaris, because in Wings of Liberty, his domination was at the same time as Zerg players in general were doing incredibly well. A lot of people looked at VortiX and said, well, are those 2 joined? Is that the reason why you're doing well? And today is his time, his day to prove that wrong, to say, I am a good Zerg player, and arguably, he could be the best Zerg player in Europe. We've seen Nurture not doing as well as he was doing previously. Stefano's fallen off a little bit as well. So this is really VortiX's time to shine, to show us what he's capable of.
That's true. And then on the other hand, we have Happy here, an absolute legend in terms of online play. But when it comes to the offline, it doesn't quite stack up for Happy as much as he would like it to. He has a problem offline. He does not feel comfortable. He had 1 or 2 problems actually with the setup before. It never really goes well for him offline. So he needs to overcome that barrier here, especially going up against someone as dangerous as VortiX.
It's such a big point that you bring up with Happy just not performing offline. And you could probably go through all my previous commentary and casts of Happy and make a compilation of all the times that I say he's going to do so well in this tournament because he's doing so good online, and every single time he doesn't perform up to that same standard. And it just seems to be this common trend that we see through Happy, is he just doesn't bring the same performance he does when he plays at home online. And that has to change today.
And be it nerves, be it setup, be it anything, whatever it is, Happy needs to overcome it here today. Moving on from the round of 16 to the round of 8 is so important. You want to guarantee yourself a spot, not only in that round of 8, but also next season's Premier League. There's so much on the line here for Happy. He needs to step up.
All right, well, both of these players are almost ready. As you can see, Happy looking pretty solid, always just, calm, no emotions. He's kind of that player that doesn't show emotions very often, whether it's a win or a loss, he's just the same player. On the other hand, VortiX is just, he does show emotions whether he wins or loses. I'm sure that's going to come out today.
Yeah.
Looks like both players are ready. They've just said go, so the games are about to begin. I'm super excited for this first series of the day.
So am I, man. We had a fantastic day number 1. Now we are kicking things off in day number 2 with an absolute scorcher in terms of TVZ. This is really some of the pinnacles that you can actually see in Europe StarCraft right now. VortiX, arguably one of the strongest Zergs in the entirety of Europe, now going up against Happy, an amazing, amazing online warrior. But will he stack up here offline? Happy versus VortiX. Let's jump in to game number 1. as we have spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner here, as our red Zerg representing Spain. He goes by the name of Caronte VortiX. WCS Spain second, WCS Europe second as well, performing very, very impressively himself. And spawning up to the top right here as our blue Terran. He goes by the name of Empire Happy.
Do you remember that Happy was in the round of 32 in the same group as Lucifron, where we saw the double proxy Thor rush? Series is over in 10 minutes. Now it's actually time to look at, are we going to see the Duran brothers tag team Happy? Are they just going to be like, all right, in the round of 32, I beat you, and in the round of 16, I beat you?
Well, I mean, being brothers, they may end up carrying the same mentalities into the game. It's very, very likely. They practice together. They have that regime together. So VortiX is looking at Happy and saying, you know, my brother pretty much straight up countered you. So from that point on, I can use a similar thought process to analyze you as well and try and do a very, very similar thing.
Kolaris, we talked a little bit about Happy playing online and how well he's been doing. Hit me with some numbers, man. Tell me some more about Happy.
Well, I mean, to the point that you made earlier, he's a fantastic player. He is phenomenal in terms of those stats. So strong during the entirety of Heart of the Swarm thus far. In this matchup alone, he has 32 map wins and 8 map losses.
That's pretty good.
88% win ratio across the matches he's played, 15-2. So he's so strong online, but it hasn't been able to carry over to this offline portion. He needs to live up to these stats. He needs to make sure he can come in here calm and composed.
Yeah, I'm sure if we were to analyze his actual wins and losses at offline events, that number is reversed. It could be as low as 12%. So, well, anyway, coming into this, we actually have a 12 barracks, 12 refinery. There's two kind of standard builds that you see from Terran players against Zerg. It's either the Reaper opening, a double Reaper openings, which should be here, or Command Center first. Both offer a relatively fast Command Center, but what the Reaper does is scout against potential aggression, even on a big map like Daybreak, offer potential kills to drones, harass the queens, but more importantly, it offers a very strong follow-up when the factory comes down. Hellions and Reapers in combination, they delay thirds, they pick off creep tumors, they can kill queens. It's a good harassment pressure style.
Yeah, it's very nice. The synergy of them works out so nicely, and Happy has been doing this for aeons and aeons. He is well versed in that kind of pressure. He doesn't really deviate it too much. We're going to see a very, very standard, stable, Happy macro from him. And, well, it's still poking around a little bit. Those drones have to come off the line to try and deal with that, and we'll chase it back with just a few Zerglings for now.
Yeah, but look at the difference between the APMs. The attacking player, usually a lot higher because he has to control aggressively and back at home macro at the same time. So usually when you see something like this, it is easier for the defender because he doesn't need to focus in two different locations. So Happy, if he's able to play at a fast speed and not make mistakes, this is pretty good for him.
That's true, and with that macro behind this, he's getting that factory as well as the reactor. As you mentioned before, the Queen's doing a good job here for VortiX to zone him out of the locations that he doesn't want him in. Despite straying off creep and being slightly immobile, he's using the terrain to his advantage. He's forcing them back, and, well, the Reapers are on the way once again.
A very strong start here for Happy. Not really doing anything, but showing his presence in the game already. Behind it, third command center. Super normal follow-up from Happy here. Shouldn't be afraid of anything because he'll have Hellions coming out soon. He already has Reapers on the way to continue to scout and so on. And then with Hellions and then probably Widowmine straight after, he should be fine. On the other hand, though, look at VortiX. He's got speed early. Very early. It was hatchery first, gas, then pull, which allowed him to get Zergling speed incredibly early. Now with 8 Zerglings on the way, to combine them with the 4 or 5 or 6 that are out already, he's going to shut these 2 Reapers down. And Happy should be home, which on the minimap he is, which is very smart timing to know when speed is going to finish.
That's one thing about Happy that does come along, though, with as many games as he plays, with the experience that he gets online. It's the fact that he knows those timings down to a T. Despite him not performing as well offline, he still carries those timings over, and they do help him quite considerably. It's just the later decision-making. Maybe he makes a little bit of a flustered assault, and then it's hard for him to deal with as VortiX, for now, moving into position with these Zerglings, but those Hellions are already out.
Yeah, Hellions and Reapers will deal with these Zerglings. There's only a few of them, so he won't be threatened, but he doesn't know how many are out there yet, so that's why he's back in a defensive posture. I think he's going to throw down double engineering bay very shortly. It seems to be the style he's looking for. Happy, always a very greedy Terran. If he has the option to push his economy faster, third command center, to push his upgrades earlier, faster engineering base, that's how we will play. on the other hand, look what we spot already from VortiX.
Yeah, that layer as well as that third base going down, but the layer is what we're most interested in here. That is going to cause him a little bit of problems if he's not careful. Zerglings were trying to poke around at the third. Did they get any kills, or was there
I think he
nothing
may
there?
have picked up a single Hellion kill, but nothing too big for sure. I mean, look, there's 5 there instead of 6, so...
Yeah, so Happy just scouting around himself, just trying to make sure that his opponent isn't in too better position. Roach Warrant as well as Baneling Nest and more Zerglings in production here, Apollo.
I wouldn't be surprised with the fast layer. He is now enabling himself to get Roach speed and Baneling speed at the same time. If he continues unit production and neglecting evolution chambers, which will further upgrade his unit, he could go for a massive attack against Happy, because we talk about it, third command center, double engineering bay, no production. He's only got the Hellions out there, the Reapers, and only 2 Widow Mines in production. If somehow VortiX can get in there and hit hard before production actually comes down, Marines, tanks, whatever, that could be an instant win.
Coming in from the back here with these Zerglings, trying to catch them out of position whilst the Queens push them away at the front here. The Zerglings don't get as good a trade as VortiX would have liked to in the end. Happy did control very well, get himself in a good position next to those mineral lines, and will fall back for now. But as you rightly said, clear reconstitution, centrifugal hooks on the way, as well as 10 roaches.
Yeah, he's going to hit this massive timing. This could be a fantastic opening from VortiX in game number 1 against Happy. Happy's going to have to keep Widow Mine production up. He's going to spread them out, and look at this. Overlord speed as well. This is what we saw VortiX in the round of 32. He's going to send his Overlords in to tank the damage against the Widow Mines, and then he will come crashing in with the Force of Spain behind him. This is going to be a very, very powerful move.
And this is something VortiX has been well versed in himself, all the way from, say, Intel Extreme Masters Cologne earlier on. These waves of aggression on these, like, around 50 drone counts or something like that. He loves to actually go for this pressure, really put his opponent on the back foot. The Roaches are now revealed. That might give Happy a little bit of an indication as to what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, he must start to, he hasn't seen evolution chambers on the front wall here. He hasn't really seen over drone production either. And now he's spotting Roaches moving across. I think Happy knows what's going on. Let's have a look at his Widow Mine setup back at home, because that's going to be important. Well, hold that thought, though. If he actually sends the Hellions around, he may be able to buy himself more time, but I guess that was only a matter of seconds, to be honest.
He needs to buy himself some time at least. That the Overlord speed is done. Centrifugal Hooks is on the way. Clear Reconstitution is going to finish up. A lot of Banelings are morphing in here for VortiX. He is going to hit this wall hard and very, very fast. Happy has to be so careful. He spots all of the Banelings now morphing in. A ton more bunkers going down behind this. He's getting his armor as well, trying to get those upgrades, continuing behind all of this pressure. Happy needs to hold with these extra bunkers.
If he holds this, he has 1-1 completing, 3 engineering base armory on the way. He can go to 2-2. He pretty much wins the game. If not, VortiX wins it. And this is going to be, look at the Overlords come in and they're all detonating. He picks up the Widow Mine so they don't detonate on the Overlords.
So good. There's so many Roaches and Banelings actually rolling in here, though. Some of the Widow Mines have been used on the Overlords, regardless of him actually picking them up. There's so many Roaches actually piling in here as well. 19 Roaches in total, along with more Zerglings actually flooding in here for game number 1. VortiX behind this is indeed supply block. He needs to do the damage here. He needs to kill off more of those Marines, and they are slowly dwindling in numbers. He's caught all the SCVs as well.
Yeah, remember, he needs to win the game with this kind of move here. He's going to pick off a lot of SCVs. No Overlords in production. He's supply blocked. He's got so much money in the bank, 1,500 minerals. I think he's confident that he can win it here, because he's not making anything.
Yeah, those Roaches and Zerglings just piling on through. The Marines and Marauders trying to hold on strong, but VortiX utilizing a tactic he used in the round of 32. Happy tried to set up the defenses to deal with it, but the Zerglings and Roaches are just barely breaking through this slowly. But the reinforcements here from the infrastructure coming on at just the right time.
Yeah, but look at the supply counts here. 76 to 53. The drone count, 50 to 16 SCVs.
Yeah.
50 workers have been killed in this game. That's a massive amount, or not 15, or I don't even know, 40, 50 workers. It's a lot, and that's almost an unrecoverable position to be in.
36 workers dying off at this point is catastrophic here for Happy. As you said, the supply count's now looking slightly even, but with the power of the economy that VortiX is going to have behind this, he's even adding on more drones. He's adding on his 4th. He's getting pathogen glands as well as 1-1 started. He sacrificed his upgrades a little bit for that assault, but it paid it off in spades.
The only advantage, or the 2 advantages Happy has, there is nothing to deal with Medivacs at this point until pathogen glands is ready, and then that stops. So there's a small timing to do damage to help recover his position. He's not currently researching 2-2, so the faster those 1-1 upgrades close into finishing for VortiX, that's the other strength, that's the other advantage, which actually gets neglected here.
And with that, we have Happy trying to do some damage behind all of what's going on, behind all the earlier aggression that we saw there from VortiX. He's trying to close that gap, but the Banelings just hunting down this position, forcing the lift off once again. VortiX holding on strong here against Happy.
Yeah, this is... he's doing a bit of damage here. He's got Widow Mines in the mineral line. That's going to be a little bit difficult to deal with. But as the Infestors come out, 6 of them, that's when these drops are going to stop. So as long as he holds on, doesn't take too much damage, which he isn't taking that much, he's still in good position. And remember that upgrade advantage? It's narrowly closing here. His 1-1 is soon to be completed for VortiX. And if he takes the gases on the 4th base soon as well, he'll have more than enough gas to get 2-2 and actually put it in his favor shortly.
Happy is having a very hard time, though, closing the gap in terms of workers. He was at 18 when all of that subsided, or 16 or something like that. And he's only at 24 right now. He's got 3 workers on the way at any given time, but still, he needs to make that gap smaller. These Zerglings and Banelings constantly shutting this down. If he drops 1 or 2 Marines on a Baneling each time, it's an alright trade, but the Banelings move out of position to just have the Zerglings and Roaches clean it up, whilst he actually pushes forwards towards the 4th here. The Fungal Growth need to be very, very important and very, very well executed along with those Banelings. I don't know whether or not there's going to be enough bio.
Yeah, not the best Infestor control either, and with the Widow Mines doing a lot of damage to these Zerglings, 22 are on the way. Happy, if he brings down this 4th base, he actually evens up the game, if not puts it in his own favor now. This is very important for VortiX to deal with the drop at the back and clean up this middle. He doesn't want to lose this base. This is actually very important. He may be just evacuating it. He realizes he can't defend this.
Yeah, he's having a very hard time. 30 Zerglings are on the way, but Happy is doing a fantastic job of reapplying the pressure to his opponent. Really playing a very, very strong multi-pronged attack here. Positioning himself well against those Zerglings as well. The Fungal Growth will lock them down, and he can kill that off eventually, but still, the 4th hatchery has gone down. This bio has done the job it needed to do, and Happy even dropped at the 3rd a little bit once again, tried to poke away.
By the way, Happy is still only at 30 SCVs. He dropped down to 15. He's only recovered double that at the moment, so in terms of economy, VortiX is still in good shape, but he has to deal with these drops. He has to prevent them because that's the one thing that Happy's using in his advantage. Slowly but surely here, VortiX is kind of starting to stabilize, but he is using so much energy and it's starting to dwindle.
And I have to ask, Apollo, now with the Hive morphing in here for VortiX, does Happy have an economical position where he can combat that tech? Does he need to get further on?
I'm not sure if Hive is the strongest decision out of all laid out. I wonder if 2-2 would have been the better option first, just to kind of, because when you're going Hive, that means that you're going to have to invest in high-tech units, otherwise why would you get the Hive? That means the Ultralisk Cavern will come down. Sure, the Ultralisk Cavern will help him out, but the problem is that timing before the Ultras get there, Happy's going to keep on the pressure. I feel that getting 2-2 and building just more ground units, Zerglings, Banelings, Roaches, would have been the better option to deal with what Happy's using.
You're right. I mean, he's doing a very, very good drop here. Once again, he gets the spawning pool. Just done a lot of economy from that point on and does not get the fungal, not locking those down, so he can't kill them off in the end. He's trying to pick up... Oh, he saves the Marauder. Well done, Happy.
If we look at Happy coming into this tournament, we propose the question, is he going to perform like he does at home? At the moment, yes, he is, because he is playing excellent, dropping all over the place. He dropped down to 15 SCVs, and now he's back up to 109 supply. He's harassing in multiple locations. The 3rd base, the main base, you can just see it in the minimap. He's all over this place. Happy's playing such a fast and solid game.
Considering how far he was behind and this the ability to actually catch up here, you're right. Very few Terrans would have been able to do this. He's constantly keeping VortiX strong across these 3 bases, constantly applying pressure. Widow Mines are still there. That's going to be very annoying. He's dropping once again in the main. He's even shut down a little bit of gas production here, so that's very irritating for our Zerg player.
I wonder if the decision to go to the Infestation Pit was the right one to deal with the Medivacs. That's what he went for, but if it was the Spire, for example, and he had Mutalisk out, maybe that could have helped him better, but look how many kills these Widow Mines have. The drone count now dropping to 39 to 39. Well, with 3 sets of command centers, 3 sets of mules, and now the 3rd base being saturated for Happy, he's going to overtake in the economy lead, which he's never properly had grasp of here.
This is really impressive here by Happy. I'm very surprised that it's got to this point where he can even things up as well as he has done. Gonna push into the middle here. There's not that many units. Those Widow Mines will have a bit of fun though with those Zerglings and Banelings catching a few of them, even killing an Infestor as well. But it seems as if VortiX is just going across the other side of the map, not caring about this drop at this point.
Well, remember, if you're dropping in multiple locations with 3 to 4 Medivacs, what do you really have left at home? And VortiX is kind of thinking like, well, what do you have at home? And there's not that much. There's no Widow Mines here. It's just a bunch of Marine Marauders. They don't have the best upgrades either.
You're right, he's challenging that notion, and VortiX moving into the natural now, but Happy is very, very far up in terms of supply. The army counts are still in favor of Happy as well here, and actually did take out that Hive. VortiX is pretty much at this point going completely all in. Fungals as well as Banelings hit quite a lot of that bio. Will the Roaches be able to seal the deal here for VortiX? I don't know. The bio for Happy is well placed. The Roaches with that limited range are having a hard time of really engaging in all of these positions. That even pulls off the SCVs right now. The Roaches slowly dying off here. I think he's going to hold.
Remember the upgrades, 2-2 in favor of Happy, 1-1, and the Roaches at 0-1 because no missile attacks was upgraded for them. It looks like Happy's going to be able to survive.
Oh, GG.
What an explosive game number 1. Happy bringing that online form live here in Germany. That was a great display of Terran's skill.
That really was. To come back from a situation where you are at 18 workers to 53 workers is very rarely heard of in StarCraft 2. The ability to catch up, very strong, keeping his opponent back at home, making sure he wasn't doing some more aggression himself in the form of VortiX. So,
you even see VortiX shaking his head there. He's like, what do I need to do to beat you? I knocked you down to 15 SCVs, and I know you have mules. Yes, you have mules, but 15 SCVs. I wonder if a couple of decisions in there from VortiX weren't the cleanest of ones. The Infestation Pit over the Spire, the Hive over more ground units and 2-2. So there's a couple of things there, but you know, in the heat of the moment, live in front of people here, live on this stage, playing in such a prestigious tournament, it's difficult to make these decisions on the fly and make sure they're always the correct ones.
And it's a great idea that you bring up in terms of the Spire instead of the Infestation Pit. If you have those Mutalisks out, chasing down Medivacs becomes almost trivial at that point, and trying to shut that down becomes a hell of a lot easier. So going into game number 2 here, VortiX has to mix things up a little bit. His tactic that he was using in the round of 32 against his previous Terran opponent in the form of Daishi, not working out as well against Happy after realizing that, well, you've invested a lot into that. You get supply blocked really heavily. You lose a lot of overlords. You have to replenish those overlords. I'm going to bring the fight to you whilst you're trying to recoup those losses.
Yeah, VortiX is incredibly aggressive when it comes to his own personal playstyle. To be honest, he always has been an aggressive player. Sure, in the Wings of Liberty days, he was very good when it got to the Broodlord Infestor stage, but he had a lot of all-ins planned every single game, and today he had another one. It didn't kill his opponent. Happy was able to crawl back in that game. He's going to have to think closely on what to do on the next map, which is going to be Belshir Vestige, a more difficult map against that style we saw from Happy. Macro into heavy, heavy aggression in the mid stages.
We're going to have to see if VortiX can mix things up a little bit. He's always been good at hiding tech and things like that. It's been more against Protoss than anything that he would hide some techs, but it's not unheard of here in TVZ, as we have Happy now against VortiX, with our Russian taking that 1-0 lead. And spawning down to the bottom right as our Red Zerg, representing Spain here, and representing his team Caronte, he goes by the name of VortiX. And spawning out to the top left. Currently 1 game up here in this best of 3. Vanquishing a very formidable Zerg in game number 1. Representing Russia and Team Empire, he is Happy.
And a lot of people talk about the strengths of VortiX when it comes down to having, or not having, living with Lucifron. I truly believe that is an incredible strength to have.
Yeah.
Talk to me about VortiX some more. What else can you hit me with?
Well, the fact of the matter is that for VortiX in ZVT, he is really, really strong. And with that, he only ever loses in Heart of the Swarm right now to Koreans and his brother Lucifron.
Well,
in televised
Happy
matches.
is neither of those.
That's true. So if this happens, then that is kind of unprecedented here right now for VortiX. He's currently 11-8 in terms of map wins versus Terrans in Heart of the Swarm. Not a huge pool to actually kind of extract statistics from, but again, the only losses are to Koreans and Lucifron in terms of maps, in terms of matches even. So Happy is on the verge here of really upsetting VortiX.
VortiX has really always had a great understanding of Zerg versus Terran. I'd go as far to say that it was probably his strongest matchup in Wings of Liberty. But coming into Heart of the Swarm, it so far, so good. But at the same time, when it comes to actual performances in Heart of the Swarm for VortiX, nada. It really hasn't done too much. Sure, he's played in online Ace of Team Cups for Caronte. He's been in a couple of plays here and there online. But actual offline Premier tournaments, the round of 32 in WCS is the only thing he's done well in. And it wasn't against the best of the best players. Today's group, Happy, Baby Knight, and Naniwa, he needs to step it up.
You're right, he is challenged here. This is his biggest challenge thus yet in Heart of the Swarm. And with that, VortiX now, he has to also bring his A game. Happy, we already saw in game number 1, he's brought it. He is here. He is saying to VortiX, no, you are not having this first win. I want to guarantee myself that shot very quickly at the round of 8.
And we talked, about Happy with his online performances. There was that point in his career that a lot of people always, come back to, is when he had like some insane 90% win record on the ladder.
Yeah.
And in today's game as well, it's not that much different. He's back up there with a massive win percentage across all 3 races. Can he do it online? The answer so far is yes, but it's just game 1. It's just the first best of 3. There's going to be more coming as well. But in this game, he is opening the same. Double Reaper, into factory, probably 3rd command center. Would you go as far as to say that VortiX would try something aggressive like that again, or would he try to play standard?
I think that he quite easily could do. He quite easily could go for it again. He may end up feeling that, well, in game 1, I was on the cusp of killing him. I was on that verge of actually taking Happy out there with that assault. And arguably, the natural here can sometimes be a little bit more open, depending on how well Happy's going to actually seal that off.
I think there was a mind game played there, but it wasn't quite good enough. As you can see, VortiX took an extractor on the natural and kind of showed it to the Reaper, and then tried to cancel it as the Reaper went away. Unfortunately for VortiX, the Reaper saw the cancel too, so nice try, but it didn't work. And he's even going into double, triple, quadruple check, and he sees no extractor, so he knows that whatever VortiX was trying to do, there's nothing.
And with those Zerglings chasing that away, should be fine for now. VortiX, he actually does a really good job of dealing with these Reapers, saving drones by morphing them into spine crawlers, etc. A little bit of a little bit of an investment, but at the end, saving that drone, very, very worth it. 9 drones on the way here, and those Hellions are in production as well for Happy. So VortiX is going to have to do a pretty good job of sealing himself off at the front, maybe with evolution chambers, maybe even a Roach Warren, but that's a bit of a giveaway sometimes.
Yeah, it's very important to get that creep spread rolling really early on with that use of the 3rd queen here.
Yeah.
You don't want to get 4 queens normally. We actually see a lot of Zerg players go 3 queens and then for a faster 3rd hatchery nowadays, just to improve their economy. And if you have good creep spread with that single queen, pushing it in multiple directions, it is easier to deal with the Reaper, with the Hellions and so on. We saw Tilo yesterday get the best of the best around, and that's what VortiX needs against a player like Happy.
Happy now, just trying to get that up and running. The Roach Warren goes down once again here. It's not as evenly timed out with the layer that he was actually accruing himself earlier on, but he is getting a few more gases here. So there's all the potential in the world that he could get aggressive if he wanted to across whilst he's establishing that 3rd base, but it could just be for the defense here for the Hellions.
Yeah, looking at player tendencies here, when VortiX usually throws down the Roach Warren at this point, it doesn't mean super hyper aggression, but I usually suspect him to throw the layer down pretty fast from this too. But with throwing down the double evolution chamber, I thought he'd go fast layer first and then maybe for a roach speed only little play. But with double evolution chambers down, he will be going for the melee upgrades here for Zerglings. Melee upgrades and carapace. I'm pretty sure he's not going to play Roach Hydra. The Roach Warren, as you mentioned, for defense to actually deal with these units we see on screen.
Yeah, and when that double evolution chamber about to finish up, Mr. VortiX is going to be good to go. Stim starts up for Happy, as well as his double engineering bays as well. So getting his bio upgrades cranked out and good to go, making himself very, very solid against this. And VortiX, well, this just kind of solidifies what we were saying before. Getting those melee upgrades, trying to go in for the surrounding, but that's so many Hellions. It says he's not really going into a big Roach composition. He's just going to use them to try and deny this aggression.
Yeah, he's only got 3 though, so he's got to be careful not to send them in one by one, as they actually will, get roasted. So needs to be careful with this. Pick off a Hellion, and Happy should know not to waste his units here and fall back on what he's set himself up in a beautiful position. 3 command centers, double engineering bay. I'm interested to see, is that command center going to move out to the south, and he'll take the middle of the map to waypoint all his units to defend and also be aggressive at the same time?
Yeah, he could quite easily expand down that aggressive path here, as for now the Hellion's going to try and run on away. A few do get sniped off by those roaches. VortiX will fend it off for now. So VortiX is actually doing pretty darn well against this Hellion harassment. It really hasn't killed too much at all. No, not a single worker kill.
No, not at all, as you can see on screen, and that's really good for VortiX, but he is going to come in down, and actually as we say that, we cursed him, he's lost a single drone. But going over to Happy again, actually, I'll talk about that in a second, as he looks like he's going to lose these Hellions unless he finds a way out.
Oh, he got a few more roaches as well, though. Sorry, drones as well there. So picking those off, not too bad. Got 5 kills in total thus far. The Hellions do dart on out, but one of them only lives to tell the tale.
I'm actually not too happy that Happy... Sorry.
You have to do it. It happens every single cast with Happy.
Sorry. Sorry. I don't think he should have lost those units because what we see with Flash and Innovation in Korea at the 8-minute 30 mark, look, it's 10:15 now.
Yep.
They pick up that command center and they're already mining from their third base, and they use the Widow mines that we actually see from Happy, and then use those Hellions and Reapers that he lost to defend as well. And that actually helps you push towards a stronger late game. Yes, it can be a little bit more risky, but if you play it out wisely and have your units cost efficiently still around, I feel it's a better style to have. Unfortunately for Happy, it's coming up to 11 minutes. That's a good 3 minutes plus later than we see the Korean Terrans. I think that's a big difference.
And VortiX here for now. He's actually transitioning himself into that Spire. Look at the positioning of the Spire. VortiX is very adamant about this. This is pretty much hidden, like we said at the very beginning of this second game. Because if a scan goes down, for example, it's much harder to spot that in that kind of obscure location. So VortiX is keeping his opponent in the dark about that. And Happy for now just transitioning on to try to get 2-2 at least.
There's a couple of ways you can look at this. The turret timing is always around 10 minutes 30 to 11 minutes. As you can see, if the turrets went down 11 minutes, it's in plenty of time. In this game, he was slowed down a little bit because of the harassment. Not really losing drones or something, but more so, if Happy doesn't throw these down, that's a simple timing that he's messed up on. But if you look on the flip side of things, VortiX's playstyle was so linear in Wings of Liberty. It was Zerglings, Infestors, Broodlords, or probably Ultralisk first. So if Happy's looking at VortiX and being like, you know, he really does... Well, he really used to, and maybe still does prefer Infestors, like we saw in the previous game. This is going to sting, and he's going to lose a lot of money.
And with that now, moving in some Overlords into position here I'm assuming is just going to be for scouting purposes, trying to keep an eye on any kind of position that his opponent would actually move out with medevacs or anything like that. And centrifugal hooks as well as 2-2 going down. 2-2 for both players actually here. So the Mutalisks, will they be able to do the damage they want? The missile turrets are being created.
Perfect timing, but perfect non-anti-timing here for that medevac, unfortunately, gets picked off. But the turret timing was perfect. Look at it. It finished just as Mutalisks came in.
We'll push him away for now. Getting a few kills here, hitting that refinery so he can bounce onto the workers actually near that, and even going to repair it in the end, so the gas would have ended up dying off as well as a side effect to trying to pick off some of those SCVs from a distance. But the Marines will push him on back, and well, there's tons of Marines in production actually, 11 at any given time. I'm really surprised that the infestation pit isn't down. Usually at this point it probably should have already been down, because you want to be going straight to hive so you can go to 3-3 immediately and hit Ultralisk really hard and early. But the style was seen from VortiX, and he does manage to pick off that SCV. What we're going to see is a lot of Mutalisks, and then he's going to morph incredible amounts of Banelings. He's expecting Happy to move out as 2-2 near completion, nears its completion, which is seconds away. If that happens, and we see Happy move out, and all we see with the gas that's being brought in from 4 bases is Banelings, we're going to have a big bang. That's going to be a rather large explosion.
17 Banelings, Claris.
Uh-oh. Well, could even morph in a few more very, very soon.
If he kills this army in one big multi-attack, then that actually just gives VortiX a 2-0. Like, it's that simple.
And also Drilling Claws is on the way. He needs this. He needs this to actually combat this. He needs to be able to burrow super, super fast against this kind of play. He's moving out into a precarious position. He's moving on to creep here. The further and further he gets onto this, he's going to try and clean up it a little bit. Some Zerglings do run into the back. They're going to suicide themselves, but he doesn't know about the full strength of this Zerg army, as he's actually going to swing in from every single location. He catches all of that bio. He has to pick up a lot of it, but he loses a lot of Marines in the process.
Oh, that was a big last hit there for Happy. That was a beautiful, lucky one there at the end. But that's good enough for VortiX. He didn't crush it as probably he would have hoped, and now he's going to have to come back and deal with this. But that was a still really good defense. The infestation pit is now done. He can go to hive in a couple of seconds' time. But I'd say that was pretty good. Not the best, but pretty good.
Yeah, and he's going to try and do some more damage over here at the third as well. That Drilling Claw is going to finish up in a little bit as well. That's going to make Happy's later pushes even more strong, as he will push on forward. This Widowmine with 18 kills here. Let's find Happy. This has actually established himself a great location here. These Zerglings are going to have to push against this, especially if he gets another connection. Another 9 Zerglings do go down to that, as well as the hatchery dying off even after completion.
Yeah, well, he's going to lose everything here in trade, and losing the 5th base isn't as big as you'd think, and losing all these Marines and Marauders, that's pretty big here. It really depends on if he can bring down this 4th base on the left-hand side. A drop's come in again, and when you play on Battleship Vestige and you try to take the 4th and 5th on other sides of the map, you need to spine and spore at least one of the bases so you can defend the other with your units. If not, you're going to get ripped apart. and stopping all the drone production there. Look at the gas now. Well, actually, I say that the wrong time because he's got 1,000 in the bank and just moved 21 banelings, but it's going to stifle his income, which will allow Happy to keep on powering away. But the crucial thing that Happy's missing is taking his fourth, which is very important for the later stages.
Yeah, I'm not even sure he has. He does have a fourth command center at the third location, so could eventually move that over. But it is a little bit late here. The creep spread's looking pretty darn good for VortiX on his side of the map, at least. And where is he going to go with these banelings? Right now, they're not really doing too much. They're just used as that defensive tool whenever Happy wants to actually push out. And the Mutalisks, in reality, haven't actually done that much harassment, not that much damage.
All right, well, looks like we are going to see a movement out again. Oh, the Widowmine's brought up really fast.
Oh, they catch a lot of those Mutalisks. A great connection there for Happy. And the Banelings try and roll on forwards as well. He pushes Happy on back, but that was a huge gas investment he lost in those Mutas.
Ultralisk Cavern is on the way. Another drop going towards that fourth base on the left-hand side here, and it is going to plant down. A Widowmine is in the Medivac as well, I think. No, a Marauder, sorry. As the Medivac does get picked off, or will get picked off here with these Mutalisks coming in, but Happy is moving down the right-hand side. Not the best, fastest movement here, because VortiX will be there before this base goes down, I think. It's close.
Going to be very close, especially if the students of constantly actually pokes away at it, but no, he has to deal with those Zerglings. They will clean that up. Oh, but another great connection. He killed so many Banelings with that Widowmine.
Yeah, it's these hits have been really consistent. This fourth base is not going to be denied here. No creep, no borrowed Zergling, nothing there, as the Zergling will eventually get picked off, but Happy going to attempt another strike down here.
He's doing really, really well in terms of pressuring this base right now. Just poking in constantly. The fungal growths really not connecting with too much. They reveal Widowmines for a second, but you can't take advantage of that fully because of the positioning of the bio. The lack of units that he actually has there brings them all across now and will constantly actually push this down. Needs to push this away. He needs his base to go up. He's got 3-3 as well as Adrenal Glands and Chitinous Placing going down, but Happy constantly piling on the pressure and multiple fronts, really drawing his opponent left, right, and center across this large map from the 4th to the 5th.
Yeah, Happy's brought down the 4th here. Ultras are on the way out, but there's quite a few Marauders here. It's going to be very important to use these units efficiently for VortiX, and he really can't afford to lose this base.
He can't, and I think he's going to that bio is so strong. He picked up some of the units even as well. He knows he's going to get that base with just a few of those units. Trying to go into the main, and the Widowmines haven't really done too much. He might even bring down the Ultralisk Cavern if he wants to. There's not that many Zerglings to deny us. If he could get Ultralisk Cavern before Chitinous Plating finishes, that'd be amazing, and he's going to bring that down. The Chitinous Plating does not finish. A great snipe out by Happy.
Yeah, Happy takes a supply lead here, and stopping that upgrade is going to make these Ultras a little bit weaker, as they won't have the full potential of the armor. A lot of Banelings getting morphed, and Happy's playing a great game here, currently leading 1-0 to VortiX, looking to close this out 2-0 potentially here.
He's playing so well.
The Widowmine hits have been absolutely fantastic throughout this game. There's no 4th base mining. There is a 4th base for Happy, but not for VortiX. The Ultras Cavern has to be remade. It's not looking pretty for VortiX at the moment.
It's not. Apollo, this is a Happy I have not seen in an offline tournament for a long time. He is looking really strong here.
Yeah, he's going to have to keep it up, though, because he's got a lot of tough games coming, but here comes a nice, strong attack, actually.
Trying to push into that Planetary Fortress will kill that off, but at the price of 1 or 2 of those Ultralisks, I think with his 4th and 5th base down, trying to afford that is difficult, but he has crippled a little bit of economy there from Happy.
Yeah, he does help, because if you look at Happy's resources, only 500 minerals in the bank, 2,100 gas. That means he's not mining enough minerals to spend his gas at this point. And well, we are going to have the usual 3-3 completing for the Zerglings and Ultralisk. They won't have that +5 armor, unfortunately. But he's still got quite a few Ultralisk here. Depending on the fungals, despite being down in supply and being behind in this game, if VortiX lands the right fungals and gets the right hits with the Ultralisks, he could absolutely draw this up.
Yeah, he could. Still a very formidable army here from the Zerg. Happy is trying to reposition himself, trying to get himself that 4th base up and running once again, but actually with 5 Ultralisks on the way, so he's going to go up to 8 very soon. That's a lot of damage you can do. Oh, but those 2 Queens go down to the 2nd Widowmine fire, or in fact the 3rd one that actually hit those, and he gets the hat trick again. Still no 4th off his base up for VortiX.
Yeah, that almost pushes VortiX into 1 army and no remax.
Yeah.
So he has to win with the 1 army he has, because he just won't have the money to remake it at all, unfortunately, because of these snipes that Happy's been pulling off in this game. As you mentioned, Happy's just performing like he does online, like a lot of players that play online are expecting him to do every single time. He just never does it. But today could be Happy's day.
It could be. He's looking pretty darn good here. And he's proving that to us. And again, it's in the statistics. Online, 88% win ratio in this matchup alone in Heart of the Swarm. He certainly is able to fight off some of the best Zergs across Europe. And VortiX is right now falling victim to that, but he's not dead yet. He has that one army, as you rightly pointed out, but those Widow Mines are going to do a lot of damage.
Happy's actually building 3 bunkers on his 4th base. He actually knows what I just said, is that VortiX has one army. If he goes to kill this, all Happy needs to do is defend, and that's what he's looking to do.
He's going to be so funneled if he actually pushes into that location. A few units trying to pick off units from the back here. Happy's trying to nibble slowly at him. He knows that this is going to be do or die here for VortiX. He's going to take down that base super quick, though. Those Ultralisks going to try and march on out as well. A lot of connections from Marauders, though, trying to fire down onto this army from that high ground. 1 or 2 of them do die off in the process. Where are the Widow Mines? They need to do damage as well, because Happy, he's bringing in some bio from the back there, but he did not save the base.
Yeah, so look at the supply is really equal. There's 7 Ultralisks remaining and 4 Infestors, and VortiX is going to turn around here. I'm not too sure if this is the best idea. He does decide against it, but with these Widow Mines coming in, Happy looking to take the fight to VortiX now. But remember, he did snipe off that 4th base, incredibly important. But still, no 4th base of VortiX himself. 150 minerals in the bank.
And what a perfect move here to try and exploit more of VortiX. Just trying to draw him thin, trade down a little bit of the bio that he can recuperate pretty well behind this. Of course, he does need those command centers up and running, which he's trying to do so now. And his income's not looking too healthy either, but nor is VortiX's. So both players are in a bit of a standoff, both strategically and economically here. And with that +3 armor on the way for Happy, he's making a very strong case for himself in game number 2.
I think that these 16 Zerglings, I suspect they're going to be Banelings at this point, and then that's all that VortiX can do. He's running out of money, unfortunately. So if VortiX is going to win this game, he needs to still hit those fungals with the 4 Infestors he has. That's not a lot of fungals. There is no room for error. There's no room for mistakes, unfortunately. If he's going to use a bit of energy to stop these drops, that's again taken away from the actual fight. But if these units are able to micro back and forth and Happy's able to spread and have the best position possible, Happy wins.
Yeah.
It's all about VortiX landing the right fungals.
You're right, especially when then he can actually set himself up pretty nicely. He's a little bit more clumped down than I was expecting going into this engagement, but those Widow Mines haven't really been able to do too much here as they do get cleaved down by these Ultralisks powering on forwards. The bio trying to stim back away from this, but there's actually not that much left here. His army, 74 supply to 96 in favor of VortiX. It's right now. VortiX is doing a good job.
Yeah, he's doing a great job here, pushing down this right-hand side. Remember, there's drops that he has to deal with back at home. It's going to become... It's very close. Let me just say that.
Close.
You can see the supplies. VortiX taking a bit of a lead at this moment. But remember, the Infestors are generating energy. That's going to be very crucial. The fallen energy, almost. Look at that. A lot of energy available. No planetary fortress here.
Yeah, these Zerglings are a fantastic move here. Happy's trying to get a little bit more infrastructure. Well, trying to get his infrastructure going back home. Trying to get any units out he possibly can. It's 68 supply to 97 in favor of VortiX right now. He needs more units to deal with these Ultras, or he needs to control pristinely to deal with that. Unit counts, 25 workers to 5. No more economy, really, for either of these players. He's going to try and bring down the hive, but it's not going to work out. Happy has to hold in his main.
Happy has one last stance here. He just doesn't have enough units at this point, and he will pick off a couple of two Ultras for free. 48 supply to 71.
He needs to actually focus down that Infestor. He will get it at full energy. Throw down 1 fungal, but a Marine and a Marauder for an Infestor is a good trade here for Happy.
Well, this is incredibly tense here. VortiX definitely does have a bit of an army supply lead here. I mean, if you look at it, 42 to 38. So close. I can't stress how close this is. A Marauder and Marine just annoying the crap out of him here.
The income right now, 140 minerals income here for VortiX to the 480 for Happy after he dropped a few mules.
The mules in the top right there, exactly. Look at that. He's got 800. That's more Marines, more Marauders. 3 Marines to be precise.
He just has the ability to recoup. I feel like it's VortiX's time to go now. He can't hesitate. He can't wait much more. This one Infestor that he has on the way, it has to happen now. But how well can he actually make that work? 10 Marauders and around 30 Marines with those 4 Widow Mines can do severe damage to VortiX's army.
Yeah, looking at the unit counter, it's 4 Ultralisks, a single Infestor about to be joined by another one, so 2. And then a bunch of Zerglings, 14 Zerglings, not that many. Compared to 5 Marauders, 4 Widow Mines, very important here. They are basically the Infestors for Terran at this point. It's not costing him anything to use them, it's just free. So if he kills units for free, that's perfect.
Drops a scan, realizing exactly where his opponent is. He cleaned up all the Widow Mines in the end, though, I believe, with the Overseer. So those are indeed gone now for Happy. 35 supply to the 66. But all of Happy's supply is in army right now.
It looks like Happy in the middle is getting chased down by Fungal.
Oh, he can't lose any units here. He loses 2 Marauders as well as a Marine. Tries to move on back here once again. If VortiX just keeps taking these small little trades, he's slowly going to whittle Happy down.
And then we got this drop on the left-hand side. Found a couple of drones. He's going to try and pull this into his favor. If Happy wins this, he goes through 2-0 and goes to the winners match. If not, we're going to game 3. Zerglings are going to just, prevent that from mining and units on this right-hand side. But look at that. There's a base on the right-hand side, mining. 2 Marauders, 2 Marines. The longer this keeps mining, the longer mules go down, the more units Happy will have, the more units he'll have to catch up. Oh, an Ultralisk in the middle! An Ultralisk at this stage is so big, he can't afford to lose that.
That is a big deal. He's trying to block it with the Marines. He's trying to block it to make sure he isn't able to get back to his friends. And that Ultralisk does end up falling. Happy, the more time this goes on, then VortiX is down and out. But he does catch that base. He kills off the mules. They go completely flying everywhere.
Yeah. I think Happy may be able to do it here. It's such a close game. I mean, look, I keep saying that, but it's 17 Marines to 7 Marauders now. That's actually increased with 5 Medivacs still around this base on this left-hand side. Only 3 Ultralisks now. Because of that 4th was lost, there are 3 Infestors. I don't think he has the numbers anymore.
Whatever happens here, even if VortiX gets great trades and tries to even things up, with Happy being 1 game up, he is going to fight down to the very last Marine. He is going to try his best to take this. He doesn't want to go into a game 3. Why on earth would he? He just wants to try and kill VortiX here. He knows his economy is crippled. He knows he's not going to have much left. But the army of VortiX, if he catches the Fungals, is still very strong. The Marauders lead, trying to poke away a little bit at this army. Any trade is so important right now.
All right, let's have a look at this fight. Where's the Fungal? Where's the spread?
1 Infestor, it needs to be a big... Oh, and it doesn't catch. It catches just 1 Marine and 1 Marauder. The Marauders now kiting back those Ultralisks. They can't continue to pursue, otherwise this bio is going to actually tear them to bits. One of the Ultralisks does go down. He only has 2 left, and he's even up the supply. 43 to 43.
Yeah, Happy picking up his command centers on the left, on the right, and then dropping at the back is just being able to use the functions of Medivacs and then lifting the buildings to be able to mine enough money, pull his opponent back and forth, stopping from mining, and in combination of all these things together, he's been able to combat an army which didn't really look like it was going to be stopped when VortiX was pushing up to that natural there.
It's such great decision-making, though, by Happy. Most players in this position will be like, right, I need every unit I can possibly get. I need it at the front, defending my opponent, so when the direct engagement comes, I can actually crush it. But he sat back. There you go. GG! Game number 2 goes to Happy. He advances on up to that winner's bracket final, and VortiX is not happy.
VortiX, the 19-year-old here, that is going to be stressful. The way that the game's played out is stressful in itself. Happy picked up an incredible victory for himself there. That's a massive confidence boost, saying, yeah, I am that good. I can continue to play like this. VortiX, though, knocking down Kalaris. Just think about who he has to play next, either Naniwa or Baby Knight, either one.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's hard.
They're both very, very good against Zerg. Naniwa proved that recently, but also Happy on the flip side, going into his guaranteed series versus a Protoss as well. He has got a really phenomenal record against Protoss as well, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later on.
Yeah, and I'm actually very excited to hear what Happy's going to have to say for himself. He's not a man of many words, and hopefully Red Eye can bring out some words from him, as you can see. We mentioned at the start of the broadcast, not too much emotion coming out from Happy. I guess his face changed color a little bit. Oh. Is kind of the only analysis I can bring to that. But I'd be interested to see what he's got to say after, the performance online and offline, being able to beat VortiX and so on. Yeah. It'd be interesting to hear.
He's kind of shutting the critics up at this point. Yeah. That was a big win for him there in this first series. Now going up against a guaranteed Protoss in the form of two Titans in the European scene now. It's going to be tough for him, but Happy proving himself well. So guys, we shall go over to an interview with the victor.
Yes, thank you very much. With me is the winner of the first game of the evening. Crowd enjoyed that as well. Happy, I'm not going to ask you the obvious question of whether you're happy, because you obviously are. 2-0. Did you think it was going to be as straightforward as that?
Well, I expected VortiX to play a lot better. Actually, I think he's a stronger player than me. So the games were tough, especially first. I'm satisfied with my results.
Okay, talk me through that first game, because you were behind in the first game. You made a really strong comeback, and where did it turn for you?
Well, actually, I didn't expect to win at all when he entered my main base with all that Roach, Bane, Lincoln. I felt like it's over already, but then suddenly, during the first big engagement at his fourth base, I think he lost too much. So then I just could revert the game result by mass dropping.
Yeah, mass dropping is probably the right phrase for it. There's a lot of drops in there. The second match was just kind of like a grinding out of the result in the end. It was, you know, you guys were both sort of chipping away at each other. What was the defining moment in the second game for you?
I don't know. I think he did some mistakes in some battles. Like one time he attacked me and lost all his muta on my mines. That was really bad.
Missed a few fungals as well in there as well.
Yeah, maybe. But I think he should have made some spine crawlers at his fourth base, so it will not get killed just by pure Marines, Marauders, and without medivacs.
I love it. You're giving him advice on how he should have beaten you. That's fantastic. Happy is our winner, ladies and gentlemen, of the first game. I want to talk to you about the next games as well. The next game we've got is Baby Knight versus Naniwa. Any predictions from you?
Well, actually, I have no idea about other matchups besides Terrans, so no idea. But I think Naniwa is just stronger player, so he should.
And who would you prefer to play?
Baby Knight.
Well, at least you're honest. Just how much does it mean to you to reach the round of 16 and potentially looking now one match away from going to the round of 8?
Well, feels good.
Yeah, of course. But I guess from my point of view, and a lot of other people watching, they're saying, we've always known that you've been very good online, but you've never quite delivered it offline. Would that be fair?
I don't think so, just
Tell me why.
You know, when I played Warcraft, everyone thought that I was way stronger player online tournaments. In StarCraft, it's completely different.
Okay.
So.
All right, well, the very best of luck to you. Thank you very much. That's Happy, ladies and gentlemen, winner of our first game. Okay. He's going to go and pack down. We've got Baby Knight versus Naniwa coming up as our next game. However, stay there because we've got some analysis breakdown now with Mr. Apollo.
Thank you very much, Red Eye, and welcome to the weather station, the analysis screen, the thing hanging from the side, whatever you want to call it. Don't want to go too much into analysis today, on this game at least, because I think the broadcast, the commentary really delivered what happened in that game. But there was one specific move that I want to look at that I think was like almost play of the day, even though it was map number 1. He's not here. He's not here. MC's not here. All right, so I think it's somewhere around here. I'm not exactly sure where it was, but there was one movement in the game which Funker or Observer is going to find for me shortly, where there was about 3 Marines that were blocking the Ultralisk. I think we have to look at that again. That was really, really cool from Happy, because all at that point of the game, it comes down to, if I can pick off one of 4 Ultralisks, I'm in good shape. So I just want to look at that block if we can find it. We're just fast-forwarding through the replay, so just bear with us for a second. I think it was a lot closer to the end. I mean, we are going on ×8, and it can't really go any faster. So we're at 24 out of 34, so bear with us. It was a really good game. I guess while we're waiting for it, I reckon Happy's going through 2-0 in his group, so I reckon he's going to win the next game if he plays like this, because I think he played really, really well. Throughout this game, we saw an incredible amount of drop. I think that's something that really shined from Happy today, more so than I've ever seen of him at an offline showing, is that his use of medivacs and speed. If we looked at, MMA's showing yesterday, he wasn't really on top of multiple medivacs all over the place at many different times. I think that's what we saw from Happy that really showed us he's in good shape today, because it wasn't just this game. It was also game number 1 too, when there was that chance to start dropping all over the place because there was no Spire, there was no Infestation Pit, nothing. But I think we're drawing around to it. These are the 4 Marines, all right. So look at this. This is the point I actually wanted to bring up. So look at these 3 Marines. I just want to look at them. Look at them. Look at them. They were blocking that Ultralisk. Did you see that? Because I did. You want to rewind? You want to look at it again? Because it's pretty cool. So, where are they? One minute. Those 3. No. These 3. Those 3. Those 3. That was cool. They were basically cutting off the Ultralisk from coming down. So at this point, the Ultra's like, help me, I have to escape. And obviously, the Zerg base is south, so he wants to go south. Those 3 Marines cut off his his escape, and he was able to get slaughtered up there. And I think that was a pretty cool move that I wanted to look at. So that's it for the analysis screen for now, and over to you, Red Eye.
Yes, thank you very much. Once more, Apollo with the breakdown. I thought that little cut-off of the Ultra list there was really, really cool. I'm glad he brought that one out as well. And with Mr. Hoopner now. Mr. Hoopner, everyone. To check in with the social media. First of all, before we get into the social media, I have to mention our director of pro gaming here is Carmack, and earlier on we had a tweet. I don't have to actually go full screen right now, and you can see the tweet from his wife, his heavily pregnant wife, I might add, who is at home and says, "Carmack sucks at StarCraft 2." Put it on the stream. People should know. So, Isa, if you're sitting there heavily pregnant and feeling sorry for yourself. We've put it on the show so that everyone now knows that your husband sucks at StarCraft 2. So that's good. WCS, by the way, #WCS on Twitter. We'll monitor all your tweets. We've also got wcs.esl.eu where you can make bets. Phil, the betting didn't include any happy, but I know that you have something very special from one particular player out there.
Yes, indeed. Kaz, who has been back and forth with Naniwa, as we saw like last week, and lots of tweets from him. He said before the game that Kaz was going to win, that Happy was going to win 2-0 against VortiX.
And he was right. So well done to Mr. Empire Kaz. And also, if you want to take part in our community predictions, you can do that right now on wcs.esl.eu. Happy doesn't even feature in the top 4 of the predictions right now. So if you want to change that, make sure you check that out. Don't forget, we're also on facebook.com/StarCraft and Twitter @StarCraft. Don't forget to mention the hashtag #WCS. We're going to take a very quick break, but when we come back, we have Baby Night versus Naniwa.